welcome to SF Live TV. I'm your host, Christina Marie. Well, my guest tonight is running for San Francisco Supervisor for District 6. Please help me welcome MattDrake. Hi, Matt.
How are you?
How are you? I'm doing well. Very good.
I'm good. It's happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, Matt, okay, District 6. Where in the world is District 6? We want to know.
Well, District 6 is, it's all of the Soma neighborhood of San Francisco. Mm-hmm. It's also most of the Tenderloin. It is part of the northern part of the Mission, as well as Treasure Island, and part of South Beach and the Mission Bay neighborhoods. So It's big.
So it's big and diverse.
It is probably the most diverse district in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you live in this area?
I do. I've lived in the middle of Soma since 2002. So for the last 8.5 years, I'm a permanent resident of District 6.
Okay. And during that time, have you noticed changes in your area?
Some. Yeah, the neighborhood is changing a little bit with the new development. Where I live is not changing as quickly as Eastern Soma. Mm-hmm. Eastern Soma, all the new buildings there, it's growing very quickly.
So the key question is going to be, let's start you off with this. Why would you want to be supervisor? That's a lot of work.
I get asked that question a lot. Why would I want to be supervisor? Mm-hmm. I think the city government needs some different outside perspectives.
Okay.
I have an unusual background. I've worked in the private sector my whole career. Mm-hmm. I work right now at technology companies. That's where I've spent my whole career. I think that perspective is completely missing from the Board of Supervisors. Okay. And I think that would be valuable, because that is the future of our economy for the next 20 and 30 years is going to be in the technology field. And we should have people who are knowledgeable about it and have experience there.
That makes sense. Very good. So you bring this unique perspective to this board, or hope to. Hope to. Now, do you think that you have the qualifications to be a supervisor and a good leader here?
I do. I've lived here for a long time. I know a lot of people in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And so I've been involved in a lot of neighborhood organizations, very much on the ground kind of things, planting trees in the neighborhood, trying to make it a better place. And I think that's very important, to be connected to the actual neighborhood where you're trying to represent.
That's very good. Yes, definitely. So you are firsthand listening to the people in your neighborhood and knowing what's lacking, what they're looking for.
Yeah, and very much so. And we've spent several years working with the neighborhood organizations, trying to improve our neighborhood and doing all we can, actually acting in many ways outside of city government, because we can do things probably faster than city government can, and maybe more efficiently and for a lot less money.
Money, and that brings me to your pet cause, or what is your platform, your pet cause that you're taking on, that you're running on?
Well, I think the most important thing that I want to accomplish is to improve the city's economy. We have a real problem here. The economy is not in good shape in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people I know who are looking for work, who are struggling.
Absolutely.
And those are people, first, they want to work. They're smart people and they want to work, and the economy is not in good shape. Mm-hmm. And because they're not working, they're not spending money in stores, they're not going out to restaurants. So they're not they're not bringing revenue to the city. Mm-hmm. And so it hurts them and it hurts the city. I think the most important thing we can do is to encourage job growth in San Francisco.
Absolutely. Now, first of all, the whole idea of economy, this is what you're running on. It's not like a very flamboyant big cause, like crime or homelessness, but why would you pick this over any other causes that seem to be more hot topics?
Right. Well, you're right. It's not a flamboyant cause, but I think that it is the root cause of so many of our other problems. If our economy was more healthy, if we were in better shape, then on the one hand, people would be working harder.
Okay.
But they would also be bringing more revenue to the city. And the city, as everyone knows, is in a cash crunch.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, the city's budget is not in good shape.
Okay, yes, I've heard.
Right, as everyone knows. And the problem is we need to get more revenue. Mm-hmm. And the easiest way to do that, and the best way to do that, is to get people working again. Mm-hmm. And so it's not a particularly exciting topic, and there's not a single thing you can, a bridge to open or anything. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the long-term health of the city, I think it's very important. And if you look at cities that are more successful, they are cities that have healthier economies, and cities that are less successful are cities that have, it's very hard to have a healthy city without a healthy economy.
So how did we get so broke? Who was out there shopping? That's what I want to know. Where does the money going to?
Well, it goes to a lot of different things, and this is another thing I want to emphasize is the importance of having a good, efficient city government.
Okay.
Our city government does have a lot of programs and things, and they're programs that we want to support, very much so. And I think that's very important. Now, the problem is that right now we have all these needs, and we don't have the revenue to pay for them.
Okay.
And it's very good to want services for the most needy, and to pave the streets, and to pay for upkeep of our parks. But if we don't have the money to do it, then those are just good intentions, and they're not really going anywhere.
And then with the joblessness rate, and that, in order to get people employed, to bring businesses, small businesses, and how important that is to the city, is that part of your agenda as well?
I think that's crucial. And the way that we are going to encourage the economy, I think, is by encouraging businesses to come to San Francisco, to have an open arm, an open hand, and say, please come to the city, locate here, and then when you get here, we are going to help you. We're going to do everything we can, and then we want businesses to stay here and to hire people and grow. And it's businesses across the spectrum. I come from the world of technology, so I want to encourage more companies to grow in San Francisco. But it's also restaurants. I mean, restaurants employ a lot of people. It's across the spectrum. There are some good green businesses that are opening up that we need to encourage those kind of businesses, because those are the ones that are going to be providing our job growth for the next several decades in San Francisco. That's the economy of the future that we need to work on. And that's how people will have good jobs.
And speaking of good jobs, or doing a good job, what about all of the, I went on your website, and under your blog, you were talking about the efficiency and technology. And I was just appalled. It was amazing. It was if you go to his blog under Drake4supervisor.com, and you're talking about having one IT. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, this is part of good government. And again, this is not a particularly glamorous topic, but it's very important. So the example, and this is taken from news reports, the city right now spends approximately $200 million a year on IT. Information technology.
$200 million.
$200 million per year.
I'm writing that down.
Which is $7,000 per city employee.
Wow.
Just on computers and servers and computer programs and things.
Wait a minute, now on the ABC special we're talking about, but they're not hooked up. They're not like talking to each other.
Right, and in spite of all the money we spend, the city doesn't know how many servers it owns. And it doesn't have a single operating email system, and our cops are still taking things with pen and paper, and some DAs don't have working email addresses.
Wow,
and makes you wonder what decade we're living in.
Okay, so then what would be the solution to this? Your solution to this kind of problem?
Well, it's important to understand no one intended this to be this way. The problem is that city government is a very complex organization. We have a lot of employees that are doing a lot of different things. It's not an easy problem. It's a hard problem. And so the thing we should do is tackle that hard problem. And what I think we should do is centralize all of our IT to one single person, a director of IT, one individual who's talented and can use the economies of scale and can use efficient purchasing to drive that price down. Because $7,000 per employee every single year is more money than we need to be spending, and that money what we should be spending that money on is the critical services that are being cut. When you look at the services, the upkeep of the parks, programs for homelessness, those programs don't have any money, and we're fighting for scraps. We could be saving tens of millions of dollars a year by reorganizing our IT spending. And it's not a sexy topic. It's not particularly exciting. It's actually rather boring, but it's the kind of thing that if done right, we could really save the city tens of millions of dollars.